There's a country on earth, ancient, mysterious, and breathtakingly beautiful, that most Americans will never dare to visit. And not because of the food, not because of the people, not even because of the location, but because of fear. Iran. To most of the Western world, that name sparks a mix of anxiety and uncertainty. Tense headlines, diplomatic standoffs, nuclear negotiations, and a complicated history that's been painted, sometimes unfairly, with broad, alarming strokes. But here's the strange part. Despite everything you've heard, despite everything you think you know, Iran isn't quite what it seems. So, why are Americans so afraid to visit Iran in 2025? Let's unravel the truth. The average American has one image of Iran: protests, flags on fire, hostile crowds chanting anti-US slogans. That image didn't appear out of thin air. It's been shaped for decades by a powerful cocktail of media, politics, and trauma. Take 1979. The Iranian Revolution changed everything. An Islamic Republic replaced the Western-backed Shah, and soon after, 52 American diplomats were held hostage for 444 days. For the US, it was a national nightmare. For Iran, it was a rebellion against decades of foreign interference. Since then, relations have remained fragile at best. Fast forward to today, and the headlines haven't softened. Tensions over nuclear programs, sanctions, travel warnings. So naturally, Americans hesitate. Even now, in 2025, the US State Department has Iran listed as a Level 4 travel advisory. Do not travel. But is the fear still justified? Or are we stuck in a narrative that hasn't evolved? Here's what they don't show you on the news. Iran is home to 26 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. It has lush forests, towering mountains, vast deserts, and ancient cities that date back thousands of years. It's the birthplace of Persian culture, poetry, calligraphy, architecture, cuisine, all still pulsing in daily life. Tehran, the capital, is a bustling metropolis with rooftop cafes and cutting-edge art galleries. Isfahan has mosques so stunning they'll leave you speechless. Shiraz, the city of poets, is surrounded by gardens and ancient ruins. And the people? Ask anyone who's been, and yes, some do go, and they'll tell you the same thing. Iranians are some of the most hospitable people in the world. They'll invite you into their homes, share their meals, refuse to let you pay, ask about your country, your family, your story. So why the disconnect? Why is the reality so different from the perception? Here's one of the biggest challenges. You can't just buy a ticket and go. Americans need to jump through serious hoops to get a visa for Iran. You must go through a licensed tour agency. You'll be accompanied by a government-approved guide at all times. Solo backpacking, not an option if you're American. That alone deters a lot of travelers. People don't want the hassle. They worry about surveillance, or worse, detainment. There have been cases, rare but real, of dual nationals or journalists being detained and accused of espionage. So while most visits are incident-free, the risk, however small, looms large in people's minds, and risk perception plays a massive role in travel behavior. Let's not sugarcoat this. Iran's government and the US government are not friends. There are sanctions, cyber threats, proxy wars. Each country has its own narrative, its own version of history, and its own agenda. Iran's government often paints the US as an imperialist force. The US, in turn, portrays Iran as a rogue nation, caught in between. The people, regular Iranians, many of whom are desperate for deeper connection with the outside world, find themselves isolated by a system they didn't vote for and sanctions they didn't ask for. And for Americans, the fear isn't always about Iranians. It's about the state. The worry is, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I'm being watched? What if I become a pawn in a political game? Fair concerns, especially in an authoritarian regime. Subscribe to this channel if you're fascinated by how politics and perception shape the way we see the world and ourselves. It's easy to forget that media thrives on drama, and when Iran does make the headlines, it's almost always about danger. But here's a stat that might surprise you. Between 2019 and 2023, thousands of travelers visited Iran safely. Many even called it one of their favorite trips. So why don't we hear about that? Because fear sells. It captures attention. It keeps you watching. But it also builds walls between people and countries that might otherwise find common ground. Even if you do go, Iran will shock you. Women wear hijabs by law. There's gender segregation in many public spaces. Social media platforms like Instagram and Twitter are officially blocked, though many use VPNs to access them. You can't buy alcohol. You can't hold hands in public. And public criticism of the government? Off limits. For Westerners, this can feel like stepping into another world, one with rules you didn't know existed. But beneath the surface, in people's homes, in underground art scenes, in whispered conversations, you'll find a society that's far more layered than it appears. Here's the truth. Iran is not for the casual tourist. Not in 2025. It's for the traveler who's done their homework, the one who respects culture, follows laws, and understands the risks. It's for the traveler who wants to experience humanity beyond headlines, to meet people, not policies. But fear? Fear is still the biggest barrier. And in many ways, that fear is the real tragedy. Because it prevents connection, it deepens misunderstanding, and it keeps us from seeing the world and each other for who we really are. So why are Americans afraid to visit Iran? Because of history, because of headlines, because of very real risks and very outdated ideas. But beneath the fear lies something extraordinary. A civilization older than Rome, a culture that gave the world poetry, science, and philosophy. A people who smile warmly at strangers, even when their government does not. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to update the story. This isn't a travel ad, and this isn't a call to pack your bags. It's a call to question, to look past the propaganda, to see the people behind the politics, to explore the world with open eyes and an open heart. And if you believe that curiosity beats fear, hit that subscribe button, because we're only just getting started.